Welcome, guys, to another Cafecito Friday. We are joined today by Lupe. Lupe, thank you so much for being with us today. So, real quickly, background story about how I met Lupe. I think we met 2014 when we ran for Soul Runners.
Yes.
So we were on the same team for the Miami half marathon. And then so I got to meet Lupe. So I always like to say I consider Lupe one of the OG Miami runners. We've been doing this for a really long time. It's crazy. Once I moved back to Miami, it's awesome to see how much Lupe has built a community around her. So I really do consider her as an athlete, one of the best runners in Miami. She's also a coach, and she's my accountant. So if you need accounting services, Merlos Taxes over here. But I'll let Lupe introduce herself. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those that are watching that might not know you.
Well, hello. So my name is Guadalupe, short for Lupe. I'm originally born in Mexico, raised in the U.S., Chicago, Indiana, and then end up in Miami about 20 years ago. I came down to Miami for running. I got a scholarship in running, and I'm still here, enjoying the weather and running as well.
Tell a little bit about where did you end up running for?
So I went to St. Thomas University.
Okay.
Where I did cross country. Got a full scholarship for them, and yeah.
That's awesome. So if you all, I don't know, back then did St. Thomas have a track?
No,
Because now they have facilities. Now it's grown.
It's huge. So a little bit background. When I went to St. Thomas, I was, I guess you can say, the only athlete, the female side, that was really into the running, and you have to have five females in order to create a team.
Yeah.
So I was the only one, the crazy one that just wanted to go out in there and fight with all the girls. And so we only had cross country team. And I heard that this year they just are going to start with a new track team.
Wow.
So, and I can see their track team evolving. University, they were there last 2 weekends. So, yeah, they're growing.
Did you go to that track meet at It was
Yes.
huge. It was huge.
Yes, it was nice. I loved it. I love track. Track was the first sport that I was involved when I started doing any type of sports in school. So track is basically something that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so at this meet a couple weeks ago, it was like people from China, from Europe. It was a very international race, a lot of talent, and it was so awesome to have that right in our backyard. So that was really cool that puts on such great events, and UM's team itself has gotten their distance. They have a female distance coach right now. She's doing some really good solid work for the team for sure.
Yes.
So, Lupe, so I know that obviously I want to know a little bit about you as far as running, but also more so about the group that you started here, which I believe started during COVID.
Yes, a little bit before that,
Okay.
but yes.
Why don't we start with that? Tell me a little bit of what prompted you to start that group.
Well,
running warriors,
yes. So, so let me rewind. So I about 2010, I went back into running again, and I honestly didn't even know that there were so many runners in the community. So once I started getting involved in, let's say, my first group here in Miami was Team Footworks.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And I just signed up because the friends that I was with, they were all beginners, and they wanted to start off a program for beginners. So I just joined, and then suddenly I find myself with so many groups. And then back then it was just one or two. Now it's so many groups, and from there on I started training with a coach that he's still out there running or coaching. And little by little, as years pass by, you kind of start evolving, separating, getting, having different ideas, right?
Yes.
So then, do you know Fit Zone?
Yes, Fit Zone. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Fit Zone said, "How about let's start training together in this more for the OCR training." So that was everything.
Mud racing, yeah, that was the hype. I remember that.
Yes. So back then we were so many people. There's still so many people into OCR training, right?
Yes.
And I so you do obstacle racing and all this stuff, which I did as well. and I started coaching them on the side. So I did my training with them. And I will give them some tips of the things that I already learned. Uh, and then suddenly you start seeing people asking me, well, do you do any other coaching on the side? And I'm like, no. I'm like, why don't you just start? And I was afraid, honestly. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. So I started slowly coaching one person here and there, besides outside from Fit Zone.
Gotcha. Okay.
And from there on, it just started. So what happened is that COVID came, we all had to split because we couldn't get together. We couldn't meet as a group. But suddenly, little by little, they started connecting with me, and they said, I want you to coach me. And by the time before COVID ended, we already had a nice large group of runners. And I create custom-made, individualized training for each one of them, as much as depending on their goals. So that's what I do.
Where did the name "We Are Running Warriors" come from?
Yeah, so I guess the warrior word for me was like, we are all warriors. We all work hard for what we want, and I thought about running warriors. So when I searched to reserve that name, someone else already had that name. By the way, it's Sonia.
Oh yeah, Sonia, yeah,
Sonia,
another incredible runner, yeah.
She already had that name. I was like, did it? The exact name, she had that. So I had to add that "we are," because I wanted to keep that.
It's all about those domains and the Instagram. Yeah, you gotta get on them.
So I said, "We are running warriors," because she has it. She has running warriors. So that's how everything started.
That's awesome. And I know a big part of the group is you guys do an Instagram live on Monday mornings, I believe. And what I was fortunate enough that they invited me to be on one of the Instagram lives when I first moved back to Miami. And a big piece that I really like is the part that we bring in the faith a little bit into. I think a lot of people don't know this about me, but I am, spiritual. And I believe that that's a big part of my own running as well. And there's a lot of parallels between that and distance running for sure. Yeah, tell me a little bit about that. Was that just a way for you guys to connect while we were in the pandemic, or?
Yes, well, great one. So in order to motivate during the pandemic, everybody had to do their own thing, and we were trying to figure out how do we support and motivate others that are trying to stay in the sport active and not lose sight of their performance. Yeah. So we decided to go online to the Instagram page and do exercising. So we did few videos on different types of exercising. Okay. But you have to keep up with it.
It's hard.
It's not easy. And then this other young lady that she doesn't live in Miami. She said, well, what about we do a Monday prayer, yeah, to motivate us? And we started with that one. So Johnny,
yes,
she is she is already a pastor.
No wonder she's so natural at it. Every time I'm just like, hey, this is a great way to start the Monday morning.
So I mean, I think she graduated for her in master's for
like ministry.
Yes. Okay. So she started. I had some other people also connect with me. I'm more of I speak to God. Yes. I don't sit down and pray to him and follow a specific line. I'm sorry. I should.
No. It's everybody has their own way.
But my way of connecting with God is through music and through speaking to him. And Johnny, she gets more deep into the Bible, which is great. People do that. And so I try to connect other people that believe are so deep into God, but it's not easy because everyone are not too comfortable with a camera. Yes. Yes. But Johnny she has been strong on keeping out every Monday, and I think at the same time, because we are so faithful to our running, that we also need that faith within us, because sometimes I tell everyone, sometimes we have to stop hitting ourselves for not doing what we want to do in our races, because we're not hitting those times. we have to remember that it's okay.
Absolutely.
So faith kind of reminds us that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that if you do go to race, some faith also comes with us because you're praying to God that you won't fall, that you will hit your times, that anything. So faith, for some reason, always follow us. So we just basically want to remind all runners to stay strong and trust what you're doing, and that you will accomplish your goal. So that's what that goal behind the Monday
I
motivational.
love it. I love it because I feel, as runners, myself included as well, I feel like our relationship has changed over time the more we run. And when I was younger, it was more so about that PR or that next time, or like, how can I get faster? How can I do this? But it was always attached to some goal. And actually during the pandemic is where I kind of, redefined that whole relationship. And it's like, well, what's that inner meaning? Like, why am I doing this? Because when you're faced with an injury or any sort of setback, it feels kind of like the world is shattered, when in reality, it's not. So I
Yeah.
personally have found that having that deeper meaning to running has really helped me stay, one, more consistent, but have a little bit of a healthier relationship with running. As a coach, is that, how do you help runners kind of make that transition, from, hey, I'm going to be devastated if I don't hit this goal, to, what, it's a process, and it's going to take time, but if you kind of, like you say, trust the process, you're going to get there.
Mm-hmm. I always remind them that uh, just have patience with yourself. Uh, have patience with yourself, and also too, we got to think about it. We also got to work hard. I'm sorry, but if
It's not going to be handed to you.
you know, yes, like, and one thing is that I learned is, if whatever I give you, it might work for you, but it maybe for the person next to me, it might not work. So I have to at least make some changes and understand that everybody, the body is different. And as much as maybe this person wants to be like you, there are certain things that this person might have to include in their training that you may not need it to. So I kind of, try to give them or remind them that don't compare yourself with anybody else.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, I think that's one of, I've gone out to run with your group, and I've also seen, you coach, you have quite a few runners right now that you're working with, and what I
yeah,
like when I go out there is it doesn't seem like everybody's doing the same thing.
yeah,
Everybody has something different, so it's very, like you said, individualized. And honestly, that's what it should be like. If you're working with a running coach and you're training for a marathon, and then your teammate is training for a 5K, if you're doing the same workouts, there's something there that you need to look at further. And that's not to throw anybody under the bus or anything, but it's just the truth of the matter. There's different workouts that work for some people. For example, if you had to ask me, I feel like Luke is a lot stronger in the distance stuff
mm-hmm.
than I am. We're just built differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so what works for her might not, like, she the other day, you're telling me, like, you really do really well off that high volume.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I personally haven't. I just doesn't work for me. One, I get mentally fatigued, but I'm better with the lower mileage and more speed work. But again, when we come together to run a workout, when we ran the other day at the track, it just fit. Like, it somehow fit perfect. And I came home and I was like, oh my god, I need to train with Lupe. Like, it's hard to find, especially in Miami, like that strong group of women
Yeah.
that can hang together. It's still a highly male dominant sport.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite thing about working, being able to train with you.
Yeah, and here's another thing. We one thing that I also, and I loved also, I missed that day that we trained together. Competition. When you go to a training, it's not about competition.
No.
I don't want to compete with you. We gotta work together. So let's do that competition when we're doing a race. When we're there, when we are in a race, you're on your own, I'm on my own.
Exactly.
You're a battle with me. But at the end of the day, we're friends
Yes.
and we connect. But and at the same time, like you said, you are great in a 5K, and you have great splits and great times. And but
You kick my butt in the marathon, girl. I'll be like, I can't hang with Lupe.
yes. So but when we trained together, I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
There was no rival feeling between each other. It's about just tagging along and helping each other, and that's what I love. And it's like you said, it's difficult to find someone that we can connect. So I we and yeah, it's a very male dominant sport, but we doesn't matter. We still go in there.
We
and
still
fight.
go in there. I know. Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely get in there, and but I know, for example, just like watching, I'm gonna bring up one of your athletes, Valeria. Let me tell you, she is ready. She is ready for Boston. She looks so strong. One, I can see like your personality and like your values in her. And again, it might just be natural that she's that way as well, but the consistency, the discipline, like she is out there
Yeah.
day after day. But again, it takes having someone also guiding you and giving you that support to do that, because it's really hard to do that without a solid coach
Yeah.
in your corner. So yeah, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Uh, Question: what are you training for right now? She's always training for something.
So my main goal this year is Chicago Marathon.
Okay.
But I'm going to do a 10-miler April 22nd. So Ohio,
Oh wow.
Cleveland,
Okay.
Ohio. So that's where I'm heading.
So using that kind of as more as a time trial, see where you're at to set the tone.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then I'm going to go to Chicago for a half marathon in June. And then we'll think about another race just to get closer to
Exactly.
that goal pace.
Exactly. Do you mind sharing your goal, or it's okay if you don't? I know some people don't like saying it out loud, but
So I want to break sub 3 hours. The last time I was so close was 2016.
okay.
I did 3 hours and 24 seconds. If somebody would have told me you're
Oh
close, push hard,
Just kidding.
I would have done it, because when I had 3 miles to go, I was feeling great, and I said let's go for it. But then something always happens, and you're just there in that race. I think it's one of my favorite races. Kansas, Missouri.
Okay.
Yes.
Girl, that's because you grew up in Indiana. That's how you end up in those races.
Right. But yes, I want to do sub 3 hours. Let's see what happens. I think that sometimes I've been trying, and it's just I haven't been able to hit those times. And hopefully this year, making some changes on the training,
Yeah.
I will be able to hit those times. And a nice weather.
Yes, of course. Yeah, the marathon's always so unpredictable, but like if we could just rewind for a second. So that was 2016. So that's 7 years ago. So 7 years she's been working at trying to just shade down those 24 seconds. And a lot of people think it's going to happen overnight, but that's the meaning of being a true distance runner. I find that patience, that perseverance, and that consistency in training day in, day out. So, and I know you've been working with a newer coach as well.
Yes.
Another badass female athlete herself. So I'm sure that you're gaining a lot of value from that as well.
Yes.
You're gonna do it. It's coming.
Thank you.
You can drag me out to a track. I'll pace you, but I am not running a marathon anytime soon.
Yes. So yeah. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. And then can you share a little bit about your job as an accountant? Because I know we all need an accountant. So tell us a little bit about that. How can people reach out to you to work from that standpoint?
Thank you. So during tax season, I focus on individual taxes and also corporate taxes. And if you need any accounting support throughout the year, let me know. Definitely, I don't. So I'm not too savvy on the web page and having information, but one day I will.
One day, we'll get her website up and going.
or even Instagram. But you can connect with me in my personal Instagram page, or referrals. Right now, I'm just with referrals.
Well, she has my full referral. She's been awesome. She sat there one day with me, explaining things to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, she broke this down so easily. I'm someone that needs to understand things, and I'm learning a lot. So, kind of wrapping up a little bit, one of the questions I like to ask the people I'm speaking with is, as runners, we're constantly getting injured. What's one setback, whether in running or in life, that you face and you've had to overcome? And what sort of advice would you give someone, facing a similar situation? Like, how did you push through?
Yeah, so that's a great one. So in 2016, when I hit that marathon, 3 hours, right? After that, I had what is it, a runner's high. When you have a runner's high, you kind of forget the importance of resting, massaging, maintenance, and all that, and then suddenly you go through a pain and ache, but you're in that runner's high, and you don't want to listen to your body. You don't want to listen to no therapist.
I'm not looking.
You're so into the zone of how you're feeling that you don't want to listen to nobody, and that's what happened to me. So I went through plantar fasciitis for almost a year because I did not want to listen to what my body was telling me, and I was just running until my body said that's it. I mean, I was running, racing with pain, and I had to tell myself that's it, stop. And because of that, it prolonged my recovery, and coming back to try to get back into who I was. Until this day, I can tell you that I'm still trying to find my way. So so hopefully this year, I would say that hopefully this is the year that I'm able to feel the rhythm of racing, because it's always I feel it and then it goes away and then comes back and it just goes away. So you do lose strength, you lose the cadence and all these little things, and it does hurt, but you just have to stay patient, um, trust the process, and then maybe read books, listen to motivational videos, listen to other people that have gone through something that it has set them down for so long, and to understand that you're not alone and that you will accomplish your goal. So, I'm still pushing until I get those times. So just have patience and stop beating yourself. And yes, like I go back and look at the times that I used to
I do
hit.
that all the time. Look back at the training. I'm like, I need to stop doing this.
Yes, we need to stop. I still do it, and I just remind my athletes and people out there that it's okay. But at the same time, I also talk. I'm also talking to myself.
I was gonna say, because let me tell you, Lupe. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm always like, Lupe, you're a badass runner. Like, keep going, keep going, keep going. But again, it's something that we all deal with, which is why when we're working with somebody, we know, how it feels like, for sure.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I don't. What? I guess I can say that it's not over yet. It's not over. It's gonna be okay. Keep going and stop beating yourself up. That's the only thing I can say.
Are you if somebody wants to come run with your group, where do you guys train? What times? What days?
Well, thank you. So we train Tuesdays at 5 in the morning, Tropical Park. What is it? Thursdays, 5:30, right here in Coral Gables, Prada 2 mile loop, perfect loop to do tempos.
Yes, I was gonna say yes.
Mm-hmm. And then Saturdays we mixed it around between Alice Park, UM, and then maybe another location. But normally those are the two spots that we stay on Saturdays, 5:30 in the morning. And then Wednesdays and Fridays we're more flexible. On Fridays we'll most likely meet in Tropical Park at 5:30, and Wednesdays is on your own. Mondays, I forgot Mondays, Miami-Dade College, 6 p.m.
Wow, I haven't ran in that track since we ran for the Miami Half Marathon.
Yes,
years ago.
Yes.
Oh, I actually signed up for the Go Run 5K. I forgot to tell you.
Yes.
Finally, she was like, sign up. So I did.
Yes, we will be there as well. So yeah, so awesome. Those are the schedules.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, if you don't already follow Lupe in her group, you need to. Not only is she a badass runner, she's a coach, and everything that she's done, she's always trying to uplift people. So yeah, if you're in need of help, you know who to contact. And
thank you so
again
much
for tuning in for another Cafecito Friday. And yeah, little Cafecito, ding ding.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.